Hello YouTubers, how you doing? I just wanted to go over one of my other machines I bought. I bought this Scag Cheetah, and man, the thing's fun to drive. The deck cuts great. The mulching deck is awesome on it. You know, the performance when you're out riding this thing, the suspension, everything, it's a fun machine. I bought a property, about 3 acres I cut, so I just wanted to get done with that as fast as I could. I didn't want to spend my weekends cutting lawns, even though I like to, but there's other things to do. So performance-wise, this thing's been awesome. I have my fertilizer spreader mounted on the front of it. That's been a lifesaver. I can fertilize a whole lawn in about 40 minutes. That's been great. Can't say enough good things about this Jerko spreader. Jerko, however you pronounce it. But it quickly goes on and off with pins. Works great. The sag is fun, but I've had a couple issues with it. And the build quality on this machine is just not where it should be for a $10,000 plus machine. I did a lot of research, and I wound up going with the Koehler Command Pro 31 EFI. The dealer said I wanted the higher horsepower. I didn't want to be bogged down. I wanted to be able to cut fast, especially with a mulching deck. It uses more power. So I thought the 31 EFI, and he said get the electronic fuel injection, much less problems. So that's what I did. So overall, the engine starts, it runs fine. It has been back to the dealer a couple times now. I have a problem where it runs, and after about 10 minutes worth of running time, it loses RPMs and horsepower, which is strange. So I don't know whether it's kicking back to fuel injectors. Anyhow, it's been with the dealer. I've literally brought in with full tanks of gas, and he's run the lawnmower and in his parking lot, because he can't cut grass with it, run through both fuel tanks, handed it back, and said there's not a problem. It's been in twice for this problem. It's never been resolved. So I don't think I'm really getting 31 horsepower. You know, if this was a carburetor, I would say that something wrong with the choke. But I'm kind of disappointed with that. I mean, I think the engine's a great engine. I just think there's a problem somewhere, and that's been unresolved. And I've had this machine for about 1.5 years now. And I just wanted to go over some things with this machine I like and don't like. Tell you the truth, I've had 2 Craftsman cheap lawnmowers, rider mowers, and both of them have lasted me 10 plus years, have been terrific. And this is the first one I'm having this has needed more maintenance in 1 year than all of my other lawnmowers combined. So let's go over this and just show you what I like and don't like. As you can see, it has 47.2 hours on it. That's all that's on this machine, 47.2, and probably 10 of them to 20 of them is a dealer testing the thing. So it's barely used. And this morning I went to take it out, and the blades weren't engaging. The relay was clicking, but the blades weren't turning on. Took the whole thing apart, put it back together. I don't know what happened, but it's working now. We'll just chalk that up to experience. A couple things I don't like. They have this great display. I love this display. I want to know what my engine's doing. I'm a gauge guy. I want to see when it's low on fuel, how much oil is in it, stuff like that. But half the gauge doesn't work. The temperature indicator doesn't work on it, the low, high, and I guess depending on what model you put it on, different things work and different things don't. Guys, make all the functionality works. You know, it's like, you know, I bought this with the gauge because I wanted the gauge. But if the gauge doesn't show me what I need, that's no good. One thing I do have to say, the whole suspension platform, the way they did this, and it suspends the driver, I like that a lot. It's much nicer than the seat bouncing around, the fact that your legs and everything are suspended. I did get the light kit on it. I like the lights. They work pretty well, but I don't think they're bright enough. The brackets are great. I wouldn't buy the light kit again. I did switch the lights with LED lights, which are a little brighter, but didn't help. Truthfully, I think I'm probably going to rip them off and put little light bars on there. I just don't have the heart to do it because I spent a couple $100 on the lights, you know, for no reason. But that's kind of lights that you buy with everything. I do like the dual fuel tanks. It has dual fuel tanks. Again, it would be nice if it didn't have dual fuel tanks and I could just, it would draw out of both. I don't know, you know, that's just my thing. One side's heavier than the other if one's empty. You know. What else? So little issues I've had. These things can, look, it's loose already. This continually loosens up. I can't get these tight enough. This, I'm constantly adjusting and tightening these no matter how tight I make it. So I could put a freaking lock washer on it. Maybe I'll do that this afternoon to see if that helps keep it from loosening up. So that's that. As I said, this has about a year's worth of use on it. I do take it out and I wash the thing about 2 or 3 times a year. And you know, it's a problem. It's not weathering like it should. I have a lot of other machines. This tractor stays outside most of the time. Bought it at the same time. And there's very little rust or anything on it. Now, granted, I do garage it for the winter and stuff, and in the summer when I can. But this tractor's held up really well. This Sag, which is in the garage all the time, looks like it's 5 years old to 10 years old. You can see corrosion happening on the engine here. You can see these pulley wheels. All this is rusting. Even these clips are rusting. You know, just everywhere you look on this thing, it looks like it's rusting away already, and it's only a couple years old. Pulley wheels on the other side. Now, the trouble is, I understand landscapers flip these machines every couple years. I bought this because I want a machine for the rest of my life. And maybe they don't care if it rusts, but I'm the type of guy that takes out and armor rolls things and cleans it. It's not too clean now because it was in just after fall. What else don't I like? Fuses. They put the fuses back here. And I only know this because I had to check the fuses because the dang thing wouldn't start a couple times. And they're on these little pods, which is fine, but they're kind of wobbly and not great. But this first fuse comes out, and they just pop out. But the other two are almost impossible to get out because of the wires are so tight underneath. Could you just put a fuse box on this and make it normal? Other things I see right off the bat, connectors that are facing upwards, more connectors like this connector. And you know, I'm a build guy, but this is stupid. This connector right now, if water hits it and I wash it, all the water runs into the connectors. Same here, all the water runs into all these electronic connectors. Mount them the other way around, and that doesn't happen because they're sealed on the top. So there's just a lot of exposed connectors and stuff. This is supposed to be a landscaper machine that gets to be run, you know, in the rain, snow, sleet, you know, stuff like that. And they got all this exposed stuff. Build quality. Now, I've had a lot of bolts on this thing fall off, and I'm continually buying bolts. In fact, I just went down to the store today, bought oil, bought some more bolts. This front, as much as I say these front canister wheels are great, this wheel was completely seized up so much that it destroyed all the brass bushings. I had to go buy new brass bushings for it. Whoever built this, let's go to the one side, takes a bolt, puts it in, and then puts a bolt on the other side, and there's no lock washer. This is not a lock bolt. I don't know, because the other side I lost. And this wheel doesn't spin. After a year, this wheel should be spinning free. It's on brass bushings. But I think what happens is when they assemble it, because this isn't a lock bolt, they have to tighten up on this so tight to squish these together to keep that bolt from spinning off. And then that squishes the brass bushings in the wheel, and then the wheel doesn't turn. And this is from the factory. I haven't touched this side. Also, if you put the bolt in this direction, the bolt was all seized in there. You can't get a punch or anything in here to get this bolt out, it took me like 3 hours to get the bolt. I had to almost cut it to get it out. Maybe not 3, but like 45 minutes. But still, the bolt should have come right out. This wheel's on brass bushings, no bearings in it or anything, which should be adequate. The wheel itself's built like a tank. But come on, guys. Nylon washer, lock washer, any washer in there, you know, not just tighten it against the frame and cause the wheel lock up. And then when the wheel starts to wear, the bolt gets loose and falls apart. You know, this one I put the bolt in the other way. So if it does get seized in there, I can at least take, well, here's my punch. I have to take the punch and I can get the bolt and knock it out this way. The other one, you can't get the punch in there. And on this side, you have a bit more clearance, but I still couldn't get the punch lined up on the bolt well. Same thing, you look throughout this whole machine. Here's other bolts. No lock washers, no Loctite. No lock washers, no Loctite on anything. You know, here's these clips. These clips look like they're corroded and rusting already. Just this whole machine, I feel, is just rusting out, corroded, and put together poorly. You know, I do see some lock nuts in here. This is great. They put a lock nut here. No lock nut there. That's a nylon washer. This isn't. That's going to fall out. You're putting bolts on a machine that vibrates and drives. Guys, Loctite, lock washers, nylon bolts, this whole thing for $10,000+ shouldn't be falling apart on me. But I'm not going to sit here and complain about it too much. I do like the machine. It's great. I just feel like I have to take the whole thing apart. This year I bought a bunch of this corrosion rust protector and stuff. I think I'm going to spray down the engine and all the fittings and everything with it to try and hold off the rust. And again, I don't use this when this is raining. I don't use it when it's wet out. I'm a fair weather landscaper. I'm 50 years old. I'm not getting wet. I bought this because I wanted the easiest thing to go with. Anyhow, that's pretty much it for me on this for now. Yeah, just not the quality and performance I was expecting out of a machine at this cost, you know. And it's live and learn. But I have hit some things with it. I have bent the blade and it's held up well. The deck hasn't bent. I love the front tires, that they don't go flat. The machine is a little heavy. I have sunk it in the mud twice. I do live in a swamp, but hey, that is what it is. You're gonna get a lot of metal. It's gonna be heavy. That's on me. What else? I do love the ROPS on this. They don't come up that high. It fits in a standard garage. I know some people like them down. I have the ROPS up. I put this light bar on the ROPS. Probably should have done something different and mounted it on the bottom. That's gotten knocked off on trees a couple times. But I do need the light bar. Maybe next time around I'll get a little smaller one and put it underneath. But it's I highly recommend the light bar because it's up above you and it doesn't blind you and it really throws out light. What else have I done to this? I put on a switch controller, which I got to replace. That went bad. It wasn't waterproof. It sat right there to control the power to my front thing and the light bar. But I'm going to replace that. I just had to jury rig that. I rinsed the machine off and got water in it. It's the second one. It's just a poorly made piece. I love the fact that you can get to the battery easily. That is awesome because batteries are always going bad. I'm about to do my first oil change on it. That oil filter is a pain to get to. Not looking forward to that. But hey, you know, again, I understand that dropping all sorts of different engines in these. Just gonna have to do what I do to try and get to it. This looks like the oil drain plug. That is awesome. I love it. Just like Generac generators, they give you a tube and a drain plug. That's the only way to do it. You put that right in your drain bucket and you're good to go. That is awesome. As I said, the Koehler engine's been good other than that horsepower drop, which, you know, I don't know what's causing that. And the dealer doesn't know either. And, you know, one of my friends told me that it was a problem with these machines, and he mentioned a part, and I forgot it by now. But, yeah, you know, I don't think my dealer wants to deal with the problem, you know, so, that's pretty much it for me. So, again, the machine's held up, it's performed, it started every time I wanted it to start, except yesterday when the blades wouldn't engage, and still don't know why. Relatively easy to work on, except for that oil filter. but everything seems reachable. Blade changes come out with the bolt on the top, which is nice, so you just drop the blade down. But things like, you know, the bushings going with less than 50 hours on the machine, probably less than 30 hours drive time, and I'm already placing wheel bushings. Stuff rusting. I had to go get more knobs like that because they just vibrated off. Again, guys, no lock washer under the knobs, so I'm just losing. It's like a yard sale with parts when I drive this thing around the yard. I may as well go look for all the bolts after I'm done. But that's it for me. So thank you for listening. I don't not recommend the machine. I just think Scag could do a little bit better in some basic engineering on it. So that's it for me. And as you can tell, I'm changing the oil at 50 hours. I take care of everything, you know, but every time I drive this thing, it's loosening up. It's also hard to work on because it won't start unless you're sitting on the seat. So when I'm trying to work on it, that's kind of a pain because I got to start on the seat. As soon as I get off, it turns off. But if you're looking for why the blades aren't engaging and you go to start it, you can't get off that seat. So that's a bit annoying on this. I noticed this morning. But again, that's just safety stuff. I can't give pros or cons on that. You know, I'm sure they build it for liability purposes that way. But that's it. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.